months ago, before the Waqf Amendment Bill was in the focus, there came a story from Tamil Nadu. This is from Tamil Nadu's Tiruchendur, where the Waqf Board had claimed an entire village belonged to them, and this included a 1,500-year-old temple. It was the story of these villages that sparked the debate on reform of Waqf, and it was an eye-opener for so many of us. Now comes another story from Tamil Nadu, from Vellore, which is just a few hours from Chennai, where again, it's a repeat of the same template. An entire village with 150 families now in the lurch. The land they owned, where they lived, is no longer theirs because, yes, the Waqf has claimed it too. Now, we're not confirming or denying what the villagers have said. We're merely giving them a platform. And unlike before, today, courtesy the Waqf Act, the villagers can actually challenge the Waqf's claim over their land, which is why this reform was brought in, to ensure that for so many helpless villagers, whether it's in Tamil Nadu's Tiruchendur or here in Vellore, or for that matter in Kerala's Munambam, they have options. They have ways to challenge such claims on their land. Our next report gets you voices from the ground. Anaga Keshav reports.
Another village in Tamil Nadu swallowed by Waqf. In Tamil Nadu's Vellore district, a village with 150 families has been taken over by the Waqf Board. This is the second time such a Waqf land loot has been reported in Tamil Nadu. Villagers in Tiruchendur have been fighting the Waqf Board's claims on the land, including a 1,500-year-old Chola temple. This time it's Katukulai, a small village in Vellore that has been claimed by Waqf. Villagers marched to the collector's office seeking justice, claiming their homes are no longer theirs. India Today travelled to the village to find out what locals had to say.
A man named Syed Ali Sultan, who is a caretaker of a nearby mosque, has issued notices to the villagers over here, asking them to either vacate their land, their houses that they have lived on for over 4 generations, or they start paying tax to a nearby dargah, because according to him, this whole land in this village belongs to the dargah thanks to the Waqf Act. உங்க வீட்ல வந்து எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி எல்லாம் கட் பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னு சொன்னீங்க. நீங்க ஏதாவது தहसीलदार
பேசிட்டு தாங்குது. அதையே நாங்க மெயின்டைன் பண்ணிக்கிறோம்.
ஏன் கட் பண்ணாங்க எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி?
கட் பண்ணல. அப்போ வந்து மாமனாருக்கு ஒரே மீட்டர் தான் குத்தாங்க. இப்போ போய் புள்ளிங்க ஆனோடனே நாங்க கேட்டாக்க கொடுக்க மாட்டேன்றாங்க. பாய் கையெழுத்து போடணும். கையெழுத்து போட்டா குடுக்குறோம் நாங்க. அவங்க 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய் கேக்குறாங்க. எங்க போவாங்க 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய்க்கு?
You've heard from the villagers who claim their ancestral land has been grabbed. But the local mosque authorities claim the land has belonged to the Waqf Board since 1954.
Actually, it was gazetted in 1959. So in that itself, they have given clearly that what are all the properties belongs to our Waqf and all. So we have all the documents for that. And even till now, if you see the government records, it says that it belongs to our Dargah Waqf.
Even as villagers are now fighting it out against the Waqf Board, the Congress has sided with the Waqf.
Nobody wants to throw somebody outside. See, this is not the way this Indian government acts. Even Ambani lives in a Waqf property. Nobody wants to throw him out. Who wants to throw it? This Antilia is a Waqf property. He has taken it on a lease. So every Waqf property cannot be owned, because once Waqf is always a Waqf. You cannot stay away from the preamble, but you have to pay some rent and stay there.
Minority Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju, however, has reiterated how the reform can help the aggrieved.
Waqf by user is a very dangerous provision. It doesn't require any document. So we remove that Waqf by user. Henceforth, if any property has to be declared as Waqf property, it must be through a deed of declaration.
And their own land, their own property, till today, they need to prove their right to live here. Truly disappointing, and one can only imagine the kind of anxiety and anger all these residents here must be going through. With camera person Daniel, Anaga Keshav reporting for India Today from Vellore.
And Union Minister, the Minority Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju has also visited Munambam in Kochi of Kerala, one of the areas where in fact you had families claiming their land was grabbed by the Waqf Board. And they had a massive event called Thank You Modi, and Kiren Rijiju attending that particular event in Munambam. Let's get you a reaction coming in right now from the minister.
देखो, मुनम्बम इशू के बारे में मुझे पहले से पूरा मालूम था। यहाँ कितने 604 परिवार कितने सालों से मुश्किलें।
Okay, we'll get you that full reaction from Minister Rijiju in just a bit. But you've got the Minority Affairs Minister sending across a very clear message in Munambam, where you had almost 600 families being affected by this decision. And remember those images when the bill was passed in Parliament of Munambam cheering on, celebrating the fact that this reform was passed. And so they had an event called Thank You Modi in Kerala, in Munambam, which the minister chose to attend. Important also to highlight here that this is part of also the BJP's campaign in Kerala, which goes to polls next year to reach out to the Christian community. In Munambam, for example, the families that were affected by the Waqf Board claiming their property was largely Christian communities, Christian families. And so this is an outreach clearly by the BJP. But the message going in from the central government at a time when you've got protests, controversy, political showdowns and whatnot, the message is very clear from Kiren Rijiju and from the government that they 100% back this reform, and they're trying to put the spotlight essentially on those who've been affected by the previous Waqf bill as it was, and so the need for the change. This is something the government is continuing to put the spotlight on. But a point that I mentioned earlier is about how the BJP in the run-up to the elections in Kerala, which is next year, is attempting to reach out to the Christian community. Now, let's break it down for you on how they're doing that. The issue of Munambam, for example, they're putting the spotlight on the plight of 600 Christian families in Munambam. And so taking that forward, there was a Thank You Modi event. The timing of this event crucial. It's happening in the Easter week. And this is clearly a message that the government is putting the spotlight on, saying, look, Congress MPs did not listen to the church on this issue, and yet we've ensured this reform was brought in. Rijiju also is meeting with a slew of church leaders. This even as the BJP is trying to get church bodies to back them, because that goes a long way really in influencing the Christian vote in Kerala. So it'll be interesting to see what really happens on this front and whether the BJP is really successful in kind of creating issues like Waqf, or for that matter like love jihad in Kerala in the elections next year. Let's get you a reaction from Kiren Rijiju.
Christian community in the rights avagasham adile effect cheyan povunillengil endondu Congress party inde UDF aya partner Muslim League endondu Supreme Court poyi challenge cheyunnu. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതെല്ലാം ഒരു കോൺട്രവേഴ്സി ഉണ്ടാക്കി ജനങ്ങളുടെ മനസ്സിൽ വിഷമം, ഒരു അൺസർട്ടനിറ്റി ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും അത് കോൺഗ്രസ് അവരുടെ ഒരു പ്രയാസം, അവരുടെ ഒരു എഫേർട്ട്.
And sticking to news from Tamil Nadu, in the biggest escalation yet in the centre versus state standoff, you had Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin today moving a resolution for autonomy of the state. He warned that state powers are being steadily eroded, transferred to the union, and so has urged for a re-evaluation of the constitution, as he's put it. He says we need this re-evaluation to protect federalism. So a committee has been formed by the DMK after this resolution, which is being led by former Supreme Court Judge Kurian Joseph, to study the issue, recommend steps to safeguard state rights. The committee is expected to submit the report next year, and then you could see developments over the course of many, many years. But Chief Minister Stalin says this is a long fight. He's raised issues like NEET, like the language war, like delimitation, to say that states must ensure their voice is heard. Let's get you all the reactions.
பசியால் வாடி தவிக்கும் தன்னுடைய குழந்தைக்கு என்ன உணவு கொடுத்திட வேண்டும் என்பது அந்த குழந்தையின் தாய்க்குத்தான் தெரியும். ஆனால் அந்த குழந்தை உண்ணும் உணவை கற்கும் கல்வியை கடந்து செல்லும் பாதையினை டெல்லியிலிருந்து யாரோ ஒருவர் தீர்மானித்தால் கருணையை உருவான தாய்மையும் பொங்கி எழத்தானே செய்யும். கூட்டாட்சி கருத்தியலை வலியுறுத்தும் வகையிலும் ஒன்றிய மாநில அரசின் உறவுகளை அதற்குரிய கொள்கைகளை மேம்படுத்திடவும் இந்திய அரசியலமைப்பு சட்டத்தின் விதிக்கூறுகள், நடைமுறையில் உள்ள சட்டங்கள், ஆணைகள் ஆகியவற்றை அனைத்து நிலைகளிலும் ஆராய்ந்து மறு மதிப்பீடு செய்திடவும் மற்றும் அதற்குரிய நடவடிக்கைகளை அரசுக்கு பரிந்துரை செய்திடவும் உயர்மட்ட அளவிலான குழு ஒன்றினை அமைப்பது என்று மிக மிக அவசியமாக வந்திருக்கிறது. உச்ச நீதிமன்ற மேனாள் நீதியரசர் திரு குரியன் ஜோசப் அவர்களை தலைவராக கொண்ட குழு அமைக்கப்படுகிறது.